Hello and welcome to a new week of meals. I am starting off with sort of a Mexican-inspired quesadilla, chicken quesadilla. I'm going to serve it with some veggies and some refried beans. I've got some leftover rotisserie chicken, flour tortillas, and all this stuff. And we're just going to start with some beans here. So I've got a can of black beans. I'm going to season this and just kind of warm it through. And then I'm going to make the quesadilla and warm up the veggies. Right now what I'm adding to the black beans is I think 2 or 3 cloves of smashed garlic, just to kind of infuse the flavor. I'm not mincing this up to like try to get it all in there, but just infusing that flavor of the garlic. We have some onion powder, some cumin, and a little pinch of cayenne. I wanted to start with a little bit so it's not too spicy. And then for the salt, instead of adding salt, I'm adding some chicken bouillon, just some Knorr chicken flavored bouillon. I'm gonna mix that up. I'm gonna give it a taste and then adjust if I need to, and then just kind of let that simmer on a low heat. And then I'll remove it from the heat when it's had a chance to simmer for a little bit. Now for the quesadilla, I have heated up my cast iron skillet. I'm just sticking the flour tortilla down. Colin really loves it with this queso on the bottom, so I'm adding that as sort of like a creamy filling. A nice queso inside there is just a really good flavor, and then it's also, again, that texture makes it kind of creamy in there. On top of this queso, I'm going to put some shredded Mexican style cheese, just for a different layer of cheesy flavor. And then on top of that, I'm just gonna put a big handful of shredded rotisserie chicken. So a really good use for rotisserie chicken. Put as much or as little as you like. You can also do ground beef if you want to do that. Some salsa on top of this would be great, but he likes his pretty plain. We're going to do another layer of cheese on top so that the top half of the tortilla will stick to the chicken. I'm going to fold that in half, flip it over, and that will be ready to serve. And there is the finished chicken quesadilla. We've got some mixed Mexican blend veggies that I just added some butter to. And then there are those refried beans. Really, really easy meal for the first night of the week. Next up, I am making something that I remember my mom used to make as we were growing up. It's basically just ground beef with some veg, and this is super easy, but really, really tasty. It's got all the things you need. It's got your veggies, it's got your protein. And so I'm starting off with some minced garlic, and I'm going to take just half of an onion here, and I'm going to dice this up. Adding the garlic and onion now to some heated up extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna saute that until the onions become a bit more translucent, and then we will continue with the rest of the recipe. Making a little space here for the ground beef, so I'm just adding, I think this is about a pound and a half of ground beef. I think this is 80-20 as well, so I'm just going to cook that through and then mix it with the onions and the garlic, and then I'm going to season that with some salt and pepper and wait until this kind of is completely browned and cooked through. Once the ground beef is more or less done, it is going to continue cooking. I'm going to add some French cut green beans here. Just most of the bag. whatever's going to fit in this pot here. I could only fit about, oh, I don't know, 5/8 of the bag, let's say. And that's just going to kind of defrost on the top for a bit. And then as soon as that defrosts a little bit more, I'm going to toss everything and season with some soy sauce. Very, very simple. That's all there is to the recipe, really. It's not really a complicated process, but I'm going to cover that again just to let the green beans start to defrost. So I pulled the lid back up now, and I'm going to start tossing this, and I'm going to add some soy sauce, as I had mentioned before, to season it a little bit more. You want to make sure that you've mixed the soy sauce throughout so that everything gets a little bit seasoned. I do like my veggies with a little bit more texture to it. You can cook this down as long as you like if you like really soft green beans in your meals, but I do like a little bit of texture. So I want this really just to defrost mostly and warm through. I'm going to do a taste test. I want to make sure that there's enough salt to this. And if I need to add some more soy sauce, which I do, I'm going to do this at that point. And there you go, easy peasy ground beef with French cut green beans served with some white rice for the second meal of the week. The next meal I'm sharing with you is super flavorful and really, really easy. I'm starting off with one sausage. This is Polska kielbasa by Hillshire Farms. I've never bought this version before. This is skinless. I usually get the ones that are kind of circular, or I don't know how you call it, but the different kind, the one with the skin on it. So I'll show you the package in just a second, but this is one sausage, and I'm going to just dice this up. It's really for flavor, an added flavor, a little bit of saltiness. I'm going to saute this up. I'm going to brown it up, kind of crisp it a little bit, add some onion and then some cabbage, and then that's all going to go together as one dish. Here you go. The sausage is fully cooked already out of the package, but I do like to brown it a little bit just for a little bit of texture. It also, when you cook these kinds of sausages, I feel like they draw out a bit more of that sodium, so it becomes a little bit more salty. So that's what I'm doing here, just to add to the veggies. So here I'm adding some very largely chunked up onion, and then I'm going to add some cabbage to this. Just one very small head of cabbage is all you need, or is all I'm going to put into mine. You really want to just cook it down to however tender you like your veggies, and then that will be ready to serve. I will add a big dollop of butter in here just for more flavor, and that will be ready to serve. Here's the cabbage going in, and I did forget to mention that I do add a bit of water with Knorr chicken flavored bouillon in here, so some chicken bouillon, just to help the cabbage and the onions cook down a little bit better with that moisture in there. So I'm going to pop a lid on that, let the cabbage cook down a little, and just continue with that process. I will add a little bit more of the chicken bouillon with water at a little later point when I check it again, but you just kind of do it to your preference. If you think it's ready, then you don't need to do that. But I liked it a little bit cooked down more. So with that added liquid, it's going to help the process speed up a little bit. And there's that big dollop of butter. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but butter is a component to this dish. You'll see in a second. I will serve this up with some frozen pre-made pierogi. So butter, you usually like pan fry those in butter, so it's just like a flavor complement. So again, you can leave out the butter if you don't want to add it, but that's pretty much the dish done. Moving on to the pierogi. So this is what I got from Grocery Outlet. This whole big package was, I think, only $1.99. It was on sale, so I picked it up. It's potato and cheese, and I'm just boiling some water here. I'm going to put the whole bag in very carefully. I'm going to let that cook, and when everything floats to the top, it's pretty much ready. I think it was like 5 to 7 minutes is what the instructions say on the back of the package. So I'm just following that. Once these are cooked, you have the option of pan frying them if you like that. I usually do that. In this case, I did not. I didn't want the extra step. I was just feeling a little bit lazy. So I went ahead and served it as is with a little bit of butter and sour cream. Taking the cooked pierogi to the kitchen sink to drain. So here it is finished. Again, you can take these out and pan fry them if you want to. I left mine as is, and you'll see in just a second, I'm going to add some butter that I'm just going to melt on top of this to add a nice sheen to it, also more flavor. And then I will go ahead and plate that with some sour cream and the cabbage and polska kielbasa side accompaniment. And there you go. This was so delicious. I had to stop myself from eating too many of the pierogi because I'm still trying to like lower the carb intake, but this obviously was a fail on my part. And next up for the last meal of the week, something super fast. I had mentioned in a different video that I have taken on a temporary position at the church. And so I was just coming home from a meeting. Colin was coming home from football. I needed to get something done. This took literally like maybe 10 minutes. So I just took the ground beef out of the Yoshinoya marinade. I'm cooking up some steam in the bag cauliflower. I've got minute rice in the microwave, and it was perfect timing. As soon as everything was done, he came home, he ate his meal, and Rob and I think we ended up ordering like wings that night for us. But for Colin, I had his food ready. He was ready, you know, done with football, really, really hungry. Super, super easy, served with white rice. And I hope you guys enjoyed the meals for the week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video. Take care until then.